Happy Halloween, my fiends. Mwahahaha. So, as many of you know, I practice a form of shamanism known as braharai or powwow, which is a tradition in the Pennsylvania Dutch culture in which I was raised. And as part of that shamanic work, I'm also a channeling medium. As a braucher, or powwow man, I guess, my path occasionally crosses with the demonic. Now, there are definitely worse things out there than demons, and some demons can be downright friendly. Last Halloween, I did a live stream where I summoned the famously friendly demon Visago. Wow, my hair was fuller, and my production values were definitely much worse. Today, I want to talk about Satan. More specifically, a being who identifies himself with the Satan of occult lore rather than necessarily the Satan of your particular interpretation of Christianity. And this being, this Satan figure, is quite friendly, surprisingly friendly. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the theology of Satan and instructions on how to summon Satan, if you want to summon Satan. And then we'll try it. But before we do that, I need to give a couple of quick channel updates. So skip to this time code if you just want to skip straight to the demons. So, as a PhD student in the hard sciences, my schedule can be insane. My experiments are going pretty well, actually. I'm well into data collection on my second chapter of my PhD, but I was supposed to take my oral qualifying exam and dissertation proposal defense sometime in the next month, and that's not going to happen. I'm not ready, and my advisor isn't ready, and my committee isn't ready. It looks like my exam will happen in the early spring, but I have to get final approval from my committee for the new date, and then I have to file a formal petition for an extension of my general exam. It's utter madness. I'm also working on a project for a graduate level geochemistry class that has me in a lab, working on a $500,000 mass spec, and an atmospheric physics class right now that is just kicking my ass. I have the second highest grade in the class, and it's an 80%. On top of that, we had a weekend field trip that blew a hole in my usual getting things done schedule. Look, the trip was amazing, and I'm going to talk about it extensively at length in an upcoming video, but it was very poorly timed for me. And on top of that, I had a forced Windows update that scrambled my PC, and I had to take it in to Geek Squad and have Windows reinstalled. Now, fortunately, I had backups, but hundreds of gigabytes were wiped out, and I'm still not done reinstalling everything into their proper directories. And that's kind of important because some of my files, some of my code was dependent on things being in a certain place. And now some of those directories don't exist anymore, so I have to rewrite my code. So that's where I'm basically saying, like, all of this came up at me at once, and that's why there were no videos for the past 2 weeks. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to be down to maybe one video every 2 weeks. Well, one every week and a half, maybe, for the rest of the fall semester. I'm sorry about that to my increasing subscriber count. Thank you for being patient, guys. The other announcement I have is just a confirmation of what I've been implying in my last few videos, that I'm going to be focusing almost exclusively on analysis from a disability rights perspective and reducing my other content. I kind of said everything I had to say about, like, religion and politics, apart from where they relate to disability and my personal experience. Like, I'm still going to talk about these things, but, in that disability rights context, look, if I get the urge to pick these issues up separately, I may create a separate channel for them. I will probably still be posting, like, my little animation and music projects to this channel, though, when they come up. All right, enough updates. Now let's get back to Satan. So, in occult lore, Satan isn't some god to be worshipped, but one of four demons collectively known as the Crowned Princes, each ruling a cardinal direction and a classical element. Satan represents the south and the element of fire, both of which, interestingly, are also represented by the archangel Michael. The others being Belial of the north and the earth, Lucifer of the east and the wind, and Leviathan of the western sea. In some cosmologies, for example, the demonolator cosmology presented by S. Connolly, Satan represents something of a demonic divine or sort of a personification of chthonic demonic energy, but most cosmologies attribute that role to a different being, the Diabolos, generally equated with Ahriman from Persian mythology. But before we can really understand Satan, we need to discuss aspectualism, which is the idea that some beings manifest themselves as sort of multiple different beings despite having a common rooted entity. Typically, these aspects correspond with different alignments, so usually a celestial versus chthonic alignment. See, in the ancient world, gods of the earth and the underworld, the chthonic deities, were considered qualitatively different from celestial deities. But there were also liminal deities that moved between the celestial and chthonic spheres, as we see with Satan in the book of Job. And there were some celestial deities that later became chthonic. So even though the fallen angels narrative in the Abrahamic religions dates back to the book of Enoch, the fallen god myths are far older than that. Famously, the fall of Nergal in Sumerian mythology, who started off as a war god, but later becomes an underworld god as well, because of his marriage to Ereshkigal, the goddess of death. So fall narratives appear to be etiological myths accounting for how celestial entities, like angels, acquire chthonic traits and become, for example, demons. I believe, based on my experience and my research, that Satan is a chthonic aspect of the angel Samael, the archangel of war and the astrological ruler of Mars, whom Nergal is also a more primitive and savage aspect of. Now let's talk briefly about how to summon Satan. The truth is, it's not some grand occult secret bound up in some ancient grimoire somewhere. No, you just, like any other spirit, you just need mediumship skills, and you need a way to dial in on that spirit. And one of the best ways to dial up a spirit is to use sigils. So today I am using the sigil of Baphomet, my sort of crude version. And I'm just going to sort of cruelly draw this as I begin to channel. So, without any further ado, let's see if Satan wants to talk to us today. Satan. Satan. O great prince of the south, of fire and passion, speak to me. I am here in a more potent guise. So what he means by that is the way he usually appears to me is as a black man in a zoot suit, in a sort of reference to the mythology of selling one's soul at the crossroads. But today he's appearing to me in a more classically demonic form, the reptilian red skin with an elaborate rack of horns. So why are we appearing this way today? I'm here to impress. Okay. And why are we here to impress? Because you have invited me to put on a show. Well, yes, I suppose I have. Um, so, do you have any messages you would like to explain to the audience? What I represent to you in this guise is separation, is liberation, autonomous existence. No, that's not the right word. Separate existence. The divine connects to all. It is all consuming. To embrace it is the death of the self. Saintly annihilation. Better to live and burn than die, though living eternally. Okay, so it's me again. Um, so Satan, if somebody out there wanted to make contact with you, what would you have them do? Speak my name. Us. I will come. Whether thou wants to experience full separation or just a moment of separation. of real life, free of the oneness of the God. Okay, that was rather intense. Well, you did ask me to come here. I was going to come on a show. I thought I'd have a little fun with some possession. Uh, okay, okay. I think maybe we've had enough fun. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So do you have any specifically Halloweeny messages for the audience? Halloween's got nothing with me. He's not, he just sort of told me that. He's not channeling. He's like, I don't even want to be bothered with the question. It's beneath consideration. Say Halloween has nothing to do with him. Okay. Well, Satan, thank you for coming to visit us today. Um, do you have any final messages you would like to give your audience? Consider me your friend in shadows. I'll be there when heaven isn't. Ciao. He must have been busy because he just kind of like left. Like he was halfway out the door, the last two sentences. All right. Well, thank you for showing up. Um, and thank you all for another channeling session. Probably one of the last I'm going to do. Unless people discover me and there's some real interest for it. But that's it for now, and have yourself a happy Halloween. Farewell.